From the Wetlander to the Highlander, it's Sweet Shot of Time with your time-related recaps. We have recapped Wheel of Time, 100 Years of Solitude, 1899, Dark, and Time Bandits. We're 4 episodes deep into Highlander the series, but today for episode 149, I'm talking to a Sword Experience participant. She's also been a Highlander Tour Vancouver Experience participant. She's visited the Highlander film locations. She's drawn a sword against Adrian Paul, has lived to tell the tale. So from the Sword and Vancouver experiences, it's my pleasure to introduce a special guest, Priscilla Manriquez. Oh, hola, Priscilla, how are you?
Hello, hi. I'm good, great.
I'm from Richmond, Virginia here. Where are you joining us from?
I'm coming from San Marcos, a little town outside of Austin.
Okay.
Not too far.
So like when you go into town, are you going into Austin or do you stay within your community?
I stay within my community.
Okay, cool. Did you grow up there in Texas?
Born and raised, yes. I grew up in Austin.
Oh, right on. Okay, good. We have something in common. I have family in Texas, but not in Austin. They're more Dallas area. But, you know, Texas is a great state. I haven't been there myself, but my other family has, of course. How do you enjoy it?
Oh, I love it here. You know, I've traveled quite a bit because of the sword experience, but nothing beats being in Texas.
Yeah, right on. Sword experience. First thing I wanted to talk about was the Highlander, though, because, you know, we're a Highlander podcast and we talk about the show a lot. So obviously you're a Highlander fan, I take it. Did you watch the show as it was airing way back in the 90s, or did you pick it up later in life?
Well, like most people that I've met, they learned it through the movies, and I learned it the other way around. I discovered the show, and so I used to stay up. I was a big Trekkie fan, so I discovered it because it came out right after Star Trek.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. Swords, I like that. You know, that's what attracted me to the show.
Yeah, were you into like swords before you started watching Highlander, or was it vice versa?
I took an interest in it. I was a big fan of like cartoons like She-Ra and Conan. You know, I was a big fan of Xena. So I always wanted to be, you know, a swordsman or swordswoman.
So like ever since you were a kid, I guess, did you do the thing like, you know, doing sword fights with other kids around the neighborhood or siblings or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anything that resembled a stick, a broom, whatever you could get our hands on. You know, I come from a family of 4 siblings that are brothers, so we all did our thing. So that made it more interesting. Yeah. Especially when they all took on, like, I want to do wrestling, I want to do martial arts, and I wanted to do swords. So it was adventures.
Yeah, so definitely Adrian Paul is your guy then, because he does all that stuff too. Do you own swords? I don't know much about swords. Do you own them?
I am particular towards the katana, so I only have one katana, and then I have one through the sword experience an aluminum sword, but mostly I order bokens from the sword experience. So that's my main focus is bokens.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Is that like a...
It's like a wooden training sword.
Oh,
it's what we use mostly during the events.
That's what I was wondering. I know that like, I only know of swords of like 3 different types. Like there's decorative swords that people put on their walls that are like blunted and just look cool. And there's practice swords like you're talking about, which people do stuff with. And then I assume that there's like quote unquote real swords that have like an actual edge to them and stuff. Have you played around with any of those?
I have. At some events, some friends have brought some, and I got to play around with some of them. So yeah, big difference from a decorative sword.
Right. Yeah, I would feel like I wouldn't want to do much with like a real one because I mean, it seems like its purpose is, you know, to battle.
Yes.
So I would just be really nervous handling one. How do you go about doing that? Do you like play with it like a regular sword or?
I mean, I would be intimidated if I hadn't done the sword experience first.
Right. So would they teach you like safety, kind of like there's gun safety and I guess there's sword safety as well?
Yes. We go over that before we do any other techniques and training. We always cover safety first.
Well, I want to start at the beginning a little bit. So how did you first even hear that this was even something that you could do, the sword experience?
2016, I guess when he was barely just starting off. I just happened to start following him on Facebook, see what he was up to. Then I saw a posting that they had made for an upcoming event for Houston at a Comic-Con that I was already planning to go to.
Okay.
I was like, hey, I want to try something different.
So that was like a nice, easy way to like dip your toe into it because you were already kind of going anyway.
Yes. The only thing was I tend to do a lot of things alone. So this was like a first event where it would be many people involved. So I was kind of like on the fence about it at first.
Right. Yeah, that was one of my questions I had for you, as a matter of fact, because, I'm a loner as well. Do you usually go by yourself or do you go with other folks?
The majority of times I do go by myself. There are times that my two daughters will go with me. They like to, because we have spectator tickets. So if you're not too sure if you want to do it, you can sit and watch. Maybe the next time you might want to do it.
Oh, is that what your daughters did?
Yeah, they watched it a few times and then participated a couple of times, and now they just like to watch.
Okay. Okay, you say they sometimes go with you, so I guess they don't go all the time.
No.
Here's the big question. How many times have you been to the Sword Experience?
As of right now, 80. I'm waiting for Colorado to show up this month to continue.
You are going to the Colorado then, because I have that in my notes here. Is like that's the next thing that's coming up is Colorado. So you're heading there September 28th.
Yes.
80 times. Like how often is that? Are you going multiple times a year?
On average, it will be 8. I think the most I've done in 1 year was 13 events.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. I have a job where it allows me to be off every other weekend. So any chance I get a chance to go, I definitely go.
Man, okay. So earlier you were saying you were following him, and him obviously is Adrian Paul.
Yes.
So Adrian Paul, is he himself involved in every single Sword Experience that happens, or they're sometimes run by other staff?
No, he hosts every single one of those. He's the primary, trainer.
Okay.
So that's what was also intimidating about my very first one. It's like an actor is going to be teaching this workshop. I hope I don't fall or do something wrong.
Right. Yeah. Not just any actor, too. This is the Highlander guy.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Himself, what we consider the expert. So, yeah.
I suppose so. So you've done the Vancouver tour as well. Is that correct?
Yes. I did the first one, the full tour. Then I did the one for last year, and I only attended for the event. And I am scheduled to go to the next one. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the tour yet, but for sure the Sword Experience.
So how big of a decision was that? Because that's completely different from like going to a Sword Experience. You're going to Vancouver, and it's multiple days. Can you kind of fill me in how that goes about?
Well, as far as scheduling, it's getting the budget first. Getting the time is the second thing. Because I've already done retreats before the Vancouver, so I've already spent time, multiple days, doing a Sword Experience with Adrian. So the Vancouver was a little different because it was more Highlander based, and I definitely wanted to see what that was all about. Learn more from Adrian himself about what it took to film the scenes and hear the stories. So.
Right. Did you provide your own transportation to get there, or is transportation?
Yeah, they didn't provide flights, and they provided a bus for the tour, but we had to accommodate ourselves for the hotel and how to get there as far as flights.
Okay, I see. So you go yourself to Vancouver, you book your hotel, and then y'all meet up at a specific time to begin.
Correct. That's how we did it.
So early morning kind of stuff, and y'all spending all day going from spot to spot?
Yes, that's how we did it.
And he is there being your tour guide, with a little microphone on the front of the bus kind of thing?
Yes. Luckily for me, I was able to capture some of the interviews, some of the, so I have those posted, him telling us the stories and stuff like that.
Okay, the only post that I've watched is I was so shocked when I first went to your page. The first post I saw was Adrian Paul, and he was talking about you in particular, Priscilla. So that was kind of a big shock to me.
Yeah, it was a shock to me as well. And I didn't even know because, I'm so busy. I don't keep up with everything, Adrian Paul. But I have a friend that listens to his podcast or wherever he's at. And she referred to it, she goes, check it out. Somebody's talking about you. And I lifted it up and I was like, oh, wow. I was very surprised.
Yeah, really.
Very grateful for it, too, because Adrian's very down to earth. He's not, somebody that you cannot approach. He's very easy to talk to.
Yeah, it totally seems like it. I like his peace initiative that he has out there, his nonprofit that he works with. What I really wanted to know is like, you've been to like 80 of these sword experiences as a participant. Have you gotten to like some one-on-one with Adrian Paul?
Oh, many times. I think even if you go on a first time, you'll get a one-on-one with him. It just depends on how much, help you need learning for the first time. I mean, he's real devoted to helping you learn, you know, and ease you into being comfortable handling the sword. And if he's got his assistants that help him and they're there to help out. So chances are you're gonna have a one-on-one with him at some point, especially if you're a returning participant, because I'm not the only one that comes, multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that already are going to hit their 10th time, or plus. So he's getting more people like me who like to come more and more often.
How many folks are usually at each of these events? Does that vary greatly, or is it usually about the same amount of people?
It depends on the location where he goes. There's sometimes he'll have a very small group, and then there's one that will be very sold out, and sometimes he'll open up a second day for it. And I think, in my opinion, the smaller the group, the more chances you have to, spend more time one-on-one with him.
Sure.
Definitely.
How many people would you say is in the smallest group?
The most you'll get is like 20, 24.
Okay. That's the smallest or the most?
That's the smallest. I've seen him have, I think, up to 40 people at one point.
Okay. Well, I mean, still, the range is pretty consistent. It sounds like it's not going to be like you'll go there and it'll be like 3 people standing around. You're gonna have at least a couple dozen.
Yeah, at least.
Cool. And you've been there 80 times. So have you actually? I know you've been. Obviously, you're there to train, to listen, and be a participant. Have you gotten some downtime with Adrian?
Not as much as, like going out to actually have conversations with him. A lot of times it's more about, hey, I have a question about this technique. We'll take breaks between, because it's like a 5-hour workshop at every event. So there's like breaks. And I'll get that kind of downtime to ask him questions or, tell him, hey, I did this or I learned that. So there's opportunities that I've had to talk to him. Like I said, he's very approachable.
Totally seems like it, yeah. So out of all the places that you've been, is there like a particular, I mean, you probably like being close to home, but is there like a particular spot that you have memories with or like a favorite location you've been to?
I get this question asked a lot at events.
Okay.
And we'll have to say Belize was my most favorite location. We spent 7 days together, training twice a day, and then worked towards filming a movie, a little movie he created. And everybody got downtime to go do their own thing. So I think that's my favorite location. But my favorite city to go to has always been Chicago.
Oh, right on.
I think that's where he gets the biggest fan base, in my opinion. Everybody knows each other already by now, and there's a lot of people that like to show up again and again. So I always consider that my Chicago family away from Texas.
Cool. That's where my co-host James lives. He's in Chicago. So maybe I got to like encourage him to attend one of these sword experiences in Chicago. When was the last time you were in Chicago?
For May 4th, actually, we did a Star Wars themed event.
Oh, one day off from May the 5th, but no, you were there. May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I don't know why I was thinking May 5th was the day. What am I thinking? Who knows?
Yeah. And that was a very interesting one because we did like a fitness training type event that we ended it with competition. So breaking us up into teams and we all competed with each other.
Okay.
Doing like an obstacle course using our poking techniques and stuff like that. So that was very fun. I think that's the direction that he's going in right now from what we normally do.
That's totally fun. Yeah. Like, okay. So that makes me think about obstacle courses, competing against other people. Have you had any injuries or been hurt on the experiences at all?
No, not yet. I've
right on.
been injured outside of the store experience, and I've learned from Adrian on ways to try to recover and train at the same time.
Nice.
So he's been very helpful with me on that. So I wouldn't miss out on coming to the events. So he's been very helpful, how to treat my injury and recover and handle the training. And he doesn't push anybody. And people who have injuries or are afraid of their injuries, or I always encourage them, just go and do your best, and he's going to be understanding if you have to stop at that point. He just wants you to be able to get into it for a little bit and get familiar and see you like it and what you can do. Yeah, he never discourages.
Sweet Shot of Time is brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is the way we record Sweet Shot of Time. We hook up with our guests via video and we record it on audio. Recently, we've been doing video podcasts with the cast of Time Bandits. It's easy using Zencastr. You can record video or audio. You can also edit your podcast or your video via Zencastr. Join Zencastr using my promo code Sweet Child of Time and you can get 30% off Zencastr. If you're ready to start your podcast, it's time to share your story. Share it with Zencastr. That promo code once again, Sweet Child of Time at Zencastr.com. So I was a skateboarder. I still am, kind of, but I was more of a skateboarder when I was younger. And one of the first things you have to learn to do is learn how to fall properly, because when you're on a skateboard, you're going to fall down a lot.
Right.
And if you try new tricks, you're going to fall and your board's going to go sideways. So you got to kind of learn how to roll with that. Is that something that y'all do in sword training as well, as like learn to take hits or learn like precautionary measures or?
Yes, when we're about to do the filming, he'll teach us how to do acting, hits and punches and how to duck and things like that. All with safety in mind, We're going to do the sword swing it this certain way. We're going to block this certain way to keep you safe, but also make it look real for the camera. Okay.
So there's like a camera technique, and then there's probably like a real honest to goodness battle technique, I suppose. Are there differences?
I would say so, yes. I mean, we focus more on the camera style, of training.
Okay. So it's kind of like stunt coordination, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, I heard that he was like a stunt man before he was doing some of his Highlander stuff. I don't know if you can speak to that. I cannot. But I know that he's more of a martial arts swordsman than he is an actor. I guess he's a swordsman first. Is that right?
Yes, that's the way I see it, And he's continuing to learn. I see him, he learns from other instructors that he's with. And I see him evolve. He evolves his learning, and I see how he improves the sword experience every year based on his interaction with other instructors.
Oh, so have you seen it progress through the years? Have you seen it get better since 2016?
Yes. And it went from just, okay, we're going to learn a choreography to now we're going to learn technique and we're going to learn, acting. And it's gotten more involved than just we're going to learn these moves.
You keep going back. You've been back 80 times, so obviously you're not doing the exact same thing every time.
No, I can never say it's the same. Every time somebody will ask me, I'm just like, they're all different. Every sword experience I've ever been to, I've learned something new, and there's always some room to improve.
Right.
I already know that I'm going to go to Colorado, and there's going to be something new I'm going to learn there.
So this is a question I didn't provide you ahead of time. Is there anything you do like in your regular life to like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you practice swords regularly? Is it something that you do like on a weekly or bi-weekly or daily basis?
On the weekends that I have off, I do. I'll try to squeeze it in my schedule because I am a full-time employee and then I go to school.
Right.
And so when I get a chance, I have to, especially with my injury, to try to keep up with our training because I know I'm going to be at another next event and I want to be ready for it. So I constantly try to stay, improving my technique.
Yeah. What does practice look like? Are you sparring against another person or are you?
Adrian has a numbering system. So it's angulations that we are taught on how to use the sword. So there's certain cuts that we do. And so going by the numbering system, I practice, okay, angle 1 is to a shoulder, angle 2 is to the other shoulder, and so forth. And so I practice that.
And do you have like I mean, I've only seen sword practice in TV and movies, okay? So this might sound like a dumb question, but do you have like a dummy kind of figure that you're aiming at, or are you just,
No, I
doing
don't
the
have one.
practices?
What Adrian has taught us is to visualize your
Right.
opponent when you're practicing.
Okay. That's what I see, but then I also see, montages of tough guys in movies practicing, and they have like this mannequin that they're aiming at and stuff. And I didn't know if that's a typical thing that people use or not.
Yeah, it depends on the person, I guess. For me,
Not
it's always
you.
something visual.
Okay. All right. So about the Vancouver tour, I want to jump back to that for a second. What kind of spots did y'all visit? Are there any particular big locations that y'all got to see?
Well, for the first one, we covered season 1. And so we went to, let me look it up real quick.
Okay. So when you say season 1, he's talking about the filming locations from episodes from season 1. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I want to go to because that's what I've watched most is season 1.
Yeah, that's one I'm most familiar with. I know a lot of people prefer, later on because they say the episodes got better for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always drawn back to season 1. One of the locations that we visited was Burrard Street Bridge, which was used for the Gathering episode.
Okay. Yep.
And then we visited the Blood Alley, where they used for the antique store, where he and Tessa lived.
Yeah, there's lots of spooky scenes of that alleyway with the cobblestone road. I mean, did it look the same when you were there?
Kind of. I mean, you wouldn't have known unless you were a Highlander fan that was there. We also visited Mount Seymour, that was used for mountain men. He went into depth about talking about that. Then we had lunch there, and that's where we also did our training for day 1, getting us prepared for the filming day.
That was the episode with like those that one guy and his 2 brothers. It was like these 3 like hermits that lived in the woods. Is that the episode?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I barely remember that one.
Yeah, we did that there, and he had help from F. Braun, helping him teach the sword experience class that day.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that was a real treat.
And how did y'all get around from place to place? Y'all are all like on a bus together, or did you have to provide your own transportation?
No, they provided a bus for us, and we also had our friend Andy Sloan, who also does his own Vancouver tours. So he was along for the first season tour. So that him riding on the bus for us was an extra, What Adrian didn't cover with us, he would cover as we would get from location to location. So I thought that was neat. Little tidbits that he had for us.
Yeah, cool. So he's only done like the Vancouver season 1 and season 2 so far. Okay. I was thinking for some reason it was an annual event. I'm mistaken. Doing some of my research, I found out that season 3 is going to be happening October 10th through 12th. So people listening to this episode, you have about 1 month to get your stuff ready and get to Vancouver to check that out. For season 2, though, that's what I'm interested in, because I thought that season 2 was all filmed in Paris, but they did the tour in Vancouver. So I'm a little confused about that. Is that incorrect?
I know he has a tour that he does during the summer for the Paris. So, like I said, my friend Andy will know more on that. But yeah, I thought too that it was in Paris. But
I mean, maybe we're both wrong. I don't know. Andy Sloan, clue us in here. Now, is this stuff expensive to do? The sword experience and the Vancouver tour? Is it, is it a reasonable price range, a couple $100s, or does it go beyond that?
Well, for the tour, it's in a couple of thousands for the tour itself. Sword experience is more like 300,
Okay.
And for me, as a Highlander fan, I love the show, but I'm more of a sword experience fan. And so last year, I chose to leave the spot open for someone who really wants to see the tour.
Okay. Right. So, and I know that you talked earlier about how your daughters would go as spectators, and I've seen those prices are very reasonable. Some of those tickets are like, $30, $40, $50 just to go for the day, hang out. Adrian will probably walk by and wave at you at some point.
Oh, definitely. I know that he calls out my daughters every now and then when he does see them. He's gotten to the point where, he knows them. He'll recognize it and say hi.
Well, for a personal question here, like I've seen on Facebook, there's a picture of you with a sword and then two other ladies with swords too. Are those your daughters in those pictures? All right, there you go. So would you recommend going if somebody were to decide to go on this tour, would you recommend going alone or would you recommend going with a buddy?
I think having a buddy would make it more fun, but I would not recommend against, going alone because you're going to meet somebody there and you're going to probably hit it off. Everybody's very friendly who shows up to, the tours and the retreats and stuff. You come, away from having friends. That's a big plus right there.
Yeah, right on. Like I'm a big proponent of doing things by yourself, like movies, concerts. I've done those by myself and I have no qualms about it. And other people think that's odd to do an activity like that by yourself. But I don't know. I do get value out of that. You can kind of do things on your own terms and then you're free to talk to anyone around you. You're not stuck in your own bubble with your other person where y'all are kind of shutting everybody else out. I think if you're by yourself, you're more open to, making friends and communicating with others.
Exactly. Yeah. That's me. I'm like I said, I'm a major introvert. So I tend to be okay doing things on my own. But I come to learn that meeting friends and doing things with friends makes it even more fun. So I'm open for that. So I would always recommend to people, just go, don't pass up on an opportunity that you're going to be like, shoot, I should have done that.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're an introvert, it's fine to do it you can even podcast by yourself. I've seen plenty of people who podcast alone with no other guests. I like having someone with me, such as yourself, especially if they're an introvert like me. That makes me feel right at home. I told you before, this probably wouldn't go longer than 30 minutes. And here we are at 30 minutes now. Before we start doing some plugs and wrapping up, are there any questions that I didn't ask you that you wanted to go over?
Other than just the fan base out there, I have to give a shout out for everybody, keeping up with the Highlander and Sword Experience. You got Adrian's Angels who are very focused on Adrian Paul and his life, his career and stuff like that. You got Highlander Heart, Blood of Kings. As far as Sword Experience, there's 3 out there fan groups for anybody who is wanting to learn more about the Sword Experience or want to share their experience. There's SXP Ultimate Fan Group, Sword Experience Participants, and then mine, which is Sword Experience Fans. So shout out to all of them for putting all that effort, to put Adrian out on the spot, promote for him and things like that.
Yeah, right on. And since you're here, Priscilla, we gotta plug the Sword Experience fan group then. We want people to go there and join Priscilla's group. But sure, the Sword Experience Participants is one that I've seen. And then if you want to go to their main website, it's swordxp.com. That's SWORDXP.com. And that's where you can actually buy tickets and see pictures and videos of all the past events.
And that's also a number one place to go to if you feel like, hey, I have a location that you might be interested in, checking out. You might want to do an event. They're always welcome to receive emails on suggestions. So that's the number one place to go to. Yeah, he's been to Texas. He'll be coming to Humble, and that will probably be, I think, his 18th time coming to Texas now since 2016. So.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say you're going to be there, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's on my daughter's birthday, and she says, we know, Mom, we know. You're going.
Well, yeah, some upcoming stuff that the Sword Experience is doing that we're going to probably see Priscilla at. Colorado Springs is happening September 28th. You're going to that, correct?
Correct.
All right. The Highlander Tour is happening in Vancouver. That's going to be October 10th through October 12th. So check out that swordxp.com website if you want to check that out, which Priscilla definitely recommends. But you will not be there on that one, though.
No.
After that, they're going to be in Pittsburgh, October 26th. You traveling to Pittsburgh?
Definitely.
Man, look at this. And then back home in Humble, Texas, November 1st and 2nd. There'll be your third chance to meet Priscilla there, and Adrian Paul, of course. So yeah, that's your next. That was my next question for you. When is your next attendance? And I believe it's going to be Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us. This has been a great talk. I asked you before if you had any other questions or any plugs. You already plugged the group. Any other final quotes or final words, Priscilla?
Other than there can only be one, but as you can see, for me, it hasn't been that. So I encourage at least go to the Sword Experience once, Vancouver, Paris, or any retreat through the Sword Experience. At least one.
Can do. I hope he comes around Richmond, Virginia soon. Have you been to Richmond, Virginia or anywhere in Virginia? That's my last question.
No, I haven't on that one yet. I've been out there in New York, South Carolina, Pittsburgh, stuff like that. Boston, mostly Boston.
Well, that's my suggestion is to bring the Sword Experience to either Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia, or perhaps Arlington, Virginia. Those are our three biggest metropolitan areas. So I think that would be his best bang for the buck in one of those spots.
All right. Provide the location. They'll probably come.
All righty. Well, thank you once again. Oh, my seat just fell down just in time. Thank you for joining us again, Priscilla. I hope you have a great day out there in Texas. And for all our listeners, I hope you guys always find water and shade and shoes. Bye-bye.
Bye.